Let's dive right into this explainer because today we are completely dismantling the modern illusions that are quietly destroying your financial future. We're going to look at the cold, hard math behind the choices we make every single day. You might feel like you're doing everything right, following the standard playbook, yet you still feel like you're barely treading water. Well, we are going to uncover exactly why that is. And more importantly, we're going to talk about how breaking free from a few very specific, socially accepted traps can absolutely transform your life. It's kind of a modern mystery, isn't it? Why are so many seemingly successful professionals lying awake at 3 a.m. in a state of full-blown financial panic? You know the ones. They drive the shiny new cars, they live in those beautiful suburban homes, they take the Instagram-worthy vacations. But when you look at the math, it reveals exactly why they are secretly standing right on the edge of a cliff. See, it's not actually about what they earn. It's about the deeply flawed systems they've bought into. And let me tell you, the stress of keeping up that facade is suffocating.
Section 1, the car payment trap, funding lifestyles with future wealth.
$1,200. Just let that sink in for a second. That staggering number is the actual monthly payment millions of regular Americans are cheerfully signing up for just to drive a truck that, in a lot of cases, costs more than the median household income. We've somehow completely normalized making these catastrophic transportation choices, confusing massive amounts of debt with social status. We've gone from reasonable 3 or 4 year loans to these absurd 7, 8, or even 10-year terms, just to make these massive monthly numbers feel somewhat manageable. Let's actually look at the brutal math here. Say you take out a 7-year loan on a $55,000 truck. That $800 base payment, that's really just the start. When you factor in the very real costs of keeping that thing on the road, we're talking $250 for insurance, $350 for fuel, maybe $178 for maintenance. Your true monthly cost rockets up to nearly $1,600. Over the course of those 7 years, you're shelling out over $132,000 in total transportation costs. And here is the devastating punchline. You do all of this just to eventually own a depreciating asset that might be worth $15,000 when the dust settles. There's a great saying for this. That's not transportation financing. That's wealth destruction with cup holders and heated seats. That's totally spot on. You are paying a massive premium just to destroy your own wealth. Think about this. If you had invested just that $800 monthly base payment into a simple index fund earning an average 8% return, you'd have built $70,000 in actual wealth. But instead, millions of people just buy into this automotive Stockholm syndrome, falling in love with their financial captor. Section 2, the brutal housing math, surviving the $500,000 starter home. Okay, so a mortgage payment, that's really just the cover charge. Here's the reality check for a $500,000 starter home today. Your principal and interest might be $2,850, sure, but you absolutely cannot ignore the hidden costs. Throw in $500 for property taxes, $300 for homeowners insurance, another $417 just to meet the standard 1% maintenance rule, and finally, that $300 private mortgage insurance, which is literally a poverty tax for not having a 20% down payment. You add it all up, and the true cost of that basic $500,000 home is actually closer to $4,367 every single month. And here's what that math does to a real family. Take the Johnsons, for example. They make a very solid $160,000 a year. But this housing reality consumes a terrifying 46% of their take-home pay, which completely obliterates the recommended 28% safety rule. By the time they pay for those massive car loans, groceries, student loans, and utilities, their actual savings drop to absolute zero. They are exactly one broken air conditioner or one unexpected medical bill away from total financial disaster. Look, we've really got to stop pretending you can just avocado toast your way out of a structural affordability crisis. The math is undeniable. The reality is that 80% of American households simply cannot comfortably afford a $500,000 house under any reasonable financial standard. I mean, over the past few decades, home prices have jumped 400% while wages only grew 180%. Most people just cannot safely afford these homes, and stretching your budget to buy one, that just transfers your hard-earned money straight to the bank, while you live with the daily suffocating anxiety of being house poor.
Section 3, the 10K safety net, reclaiming your cognitive bandwidth.
So, how do we actually fix this? Well, the very first step to breaking out of this systemic debt trap isn't becoming a millionaire. It's simply reaching $10,000 in the bank.
Having zero savings forces your brain into pure survival mode. It floods your system with cortisol, the main stress hormone. But having 5 figures saved, that literally alters your neurochemistry by dropping those cortisol levels. It completely shifts your reality from defensive panic to confident proactivity. Suddenly, a check engine light goes from being a world-ending financial catastrophe to just a mild everyday annoyance. This psychological shift is what's known as the emergency fund effect. The peace of mind comes from knowing you can handle emergencies, not necessarily that you'll even have to. The secret here is that people rarely actually spend this money on disasters. Instead, that profound psychological relief gives them the mental bandwidth, the freedom, to take calculated career risks, invest in new certifications, and aggressively chase opportunities they would have been way too paralyzed by fear to pursue otherwise. Section 4. Accelerating past 20K, creating your walking away money. Once you get started, watch how compound interest acts like a boulder finally crusting a hill. If you save $1,000 a month at an 8% return, your first $20,000 takes 19 grueling months to build. It feels incredibly slow. But your second $20,000, that only takes 17 months because your first chunk of money is now working alongside you. Fast forward down the line, once your portfolio hits $400,000, it only takes 5 months to generate another $20,000. Thanks to compound interest, the exact same financial results begin to require less and less of your actual time, until eventually your money is making money faster than you ever could. And having $20,000 completely flips your social and career dynamic. You transition from a trapped employee into a highly confident professional. You can finally push back on unreasonable demands and negotiate from a position of absolute strength without even a hint of desperation. Why? Because you are armed with walking away money. You know you could quit tomorrow and comfortably survive for months. And ironically, that exact lack of fear is what attracts better job offers and higher salaries in the first place. Like the quote says, breathing room is the foundation of every good financial decision. But please hear this crucial warning. Hitting this milestone is not a reward to go out and finance a shiny new truck. It is the absolute bedrock foundation for the strategic wealth-building phase of your life. Do not blow the foundation you just worked so tirelessly to build. Section 5. The ultimate wealth roadmap, the strict mathematical order of operations. To achieve lasting freedom, you can't just throw money randomly at trendy stocks. You have to stop building your financial house on quicksand. Millions of people skip the emergency fund entirely. In fact, 1 in 3 Americans have $0 saved. Others try to invest in the market while holding 22% interest credit card debt, completely bleeding out in penalties while hoping a lucky stock pick saves them. Many leave a guaranteed 100% return on the table by ignoring their employer match, or they bypass powerful tax-advantaged accounts to gamble on crypto. And way too many are quietly losing 1 to 2% of their wealth every year to hidden 401k mutual fund fees. These out-of-order mistakes are mathematically guaranteed to keep you broke. Now, speaking of smart strategic investing, we've got to talk about one of the most underutilized tools in America, the Health Savings Account, or HSA. If you qualify for it, it is a triple tax advantage powerhouse. The money goes in tax-free, it grows tax-free, and it comes out tax-free for medical expenses. If you optimize an HSA correctly, by just paying your current day-to-day medical bills out of pocket and letting that account endlessly compound in the background, it can completely wipe out the hundreds of thousands of dollars you're inevitably going to need for healthcare and retirement. So the goal here is to follow an exact, boring, yet perfectly mathematical sequence. First, build that initial emergency buffer so you can stop operating in fear. Second, ruthlessly eliminate any high-interest debt over 8%. Third, instantly secure your full employer match. That is literal free money. Fourth, optimize your taxes by maxing out an IRA and an HSA. Fifth, go back and max out any remaining 401k limits. And finally, step 6, fund your standard taxable investment accounts. Following this definitive checklist step-by-step maximizes your compounding returns and permanently shelters your wealth from the drag of taxes. The system is actively designed to profit off your participation in this endless cycle of massive $80,000 trucks, unmanageable mortgages, and crushing high-interest debt. It wants you focused on the illusion of affordability rather than actual financial independence. But now that you've seen the brutal math, and you possess the exact roadmap to escape it, the choice of what to do next is entirely up to you. So will you keep running on the hamster wheel, or will you take control and start building real wealth?